In the heart of an expansive wilderness, where tall pines kissed the sky, and the air was rich with the scent of earth and freedom, lay a pristine stretch of land that felt untouched by time. Craggy mountains loomed in the distance, their peaks adorned with snow that glistened under the sun's gentle gaze. This remote area was a tapestry of life, teeming with diverse wildlife that roamed freely, deer grazed quietly, birds called to one another from lofty branches, and streams babbled a soothing symphony as they meandered through the forest floor. Amid this natural splendor resided a solitary man. He had made his home in a quaint cabin nestled alongside one of those serene streams. With its weathered logs and moss-covered roof, the cabin blended seamlessly into its surroundings, a testament to his respect for the landscape. Living off the grid had its challenges, but for him, there was solace in the simplicity of life intertwined with nature. Days passed as he tended to his small garden, fished in crystal-clear waters, and relished each sunrise as it painted the world in warm hues. Human interaction was scarce in this isolated corner of the earth. Neighbors were few and far between, so he found companionship among the animals he encountered on his daily excursions. Each creature held a story of its own, a wild rabbit darting through underbrush or a curious fox peering from behind a tree. Yet one fateful day would introduce him to an unexpected friendship that would alter both their destinies. As autumn painted the leaves with vibrant reds and golds, a stark change filled the air. It was during one crisp morning's walk when he noticed something unusual, an emaciated figure shuffling cautiously through the underbrush. The man's heart sank as he drew nearer and realized it was a bear cub, frail and starving. Its large eyes were dull with hunger and fear, reflecting a desperate yearning for survival. Without hesitation, he crouched down to reduce his intimidating presence. Softly speaking words of comfort, he extended out his hands holding scraps of food he had carried from home. To his surprise, after some moments filled with uncertainty and cautious sniffs of the air, the bear cub approached him slowly, breaking bread with this unexpected ally. Days turned into weeks as their bond deepened. The once skinny bear cub began to flourish under his care. Every meal shared wove tighter this delicate thread of companionship. They learned each other's rhythms. The man's quiet evenings spent alongside crackling fires mirrored by playful antics from his furry friend just outside the cabin door. Together they thrived against the backdrop of towering trees, moments softened by laughter mingled with gentle rustlings echoing through foliage that wrapped around them like a green cloak. As winter approached and food became scarce in the forest once more, it was time for the bear cub to return to its family, an inevitability of nature's cycle that weighed heavily on both their hearts. With soft farewells whispered under breath that mingled with falling snowflakes, an enduring connection had been forged, one where kindness transcended barriers between species. Now forever etched upon his soul was an understanding that would resurface months later, an echo of loyalty that defied expectation, waiting just beyond the horizon where wilderness met human trust once more. Every morning, as dawn broke over the horizon, painting the sky in soft pastels, the man would awaken to the gentle sounds of nature. The world outside his cabin thrummed with life, the rustling of leaves stirred by a brisk wind, the melodic calls of birds heralding the new day, and the distant sound of water cascading over rocks in the nearby stream. Rising from his cozy bed, he would take a moment to breathe in the crisp air, letting it fill his lungs and invigorate him for the tasks ahead. His day began with a ritualistic stroll to the garden he had lovingly cultivated. Nestled beside his cabin, it was a patchwork of colors and scents, vibrant greens of leafy vegetables, the fragrant sweetness of herbs, and bursts of color from wildflowers that danced in the breeze. He would spend hours tending to this oasis, pulling weeds and nurturing growth as if each plant were a cherished friend. It was here that he found solace. Time seemed to slow as he connected with the soil beneath his fingers and watched life unfold before him. Once his morning chores were complete, he often turned to fishing in the clear waters of the stream. With a rod fashioned from fallen branches and simple tackle made from what little he had on hand, he embraced each cast as an opportunity, a chance to provide sustenance not only for himself but also for any hungry creatures that wandered into his path. He relished these quiet moments by the water's edge, where reflections danced upon the surface like fleeting thoughts. Afternoons were often spent exploring deeper into the woods. His curiosity led him on winding trails where sunlight filtered through leaves and dappled patches on the forest floor. He would pause to observe deer grazing peacefully or watch as squirrels chased one another playfully among tree branches. Each encounter filled him with gratitude for nature's abundance and intricate beauty. It was as if he were part of an unspoken community bound together by mutual respect. As evening approached and shadows stretched across the land, he returned to his cabin. The crackling fire that awaited him was a comforting sight, drawing him into its warmth. With simple ingredients gathered from his garden or caught from the stream, he prepared meals that nourished both body and spirit. Sitting at his rustic table by flickering candlelight, he often reflected on his day, grateful for solitude yet aware of an ache for companionship that sometimes lingered in his heart. After dinner, he would step outside and let himself be enveloped by starry skies unspoiled by city lights. The vastness above invited introspection. Thoughts wandered as freely as clouds drifting overhead. It was during these moments that he felt most alive, connected not only to nature but also to something far greater than himself. His compassionate heart was evident in every interaction with wildlife. Each creature approached without fear because they sensed kindness emanating from him. This connection forged an invisible thread between them, quietly promising that even in isolation, no being was truly alone. Yet fate had other plans waiting just around the bend, an unforeseen encounter that would challenge his understanding of connection and loyalty in ways he could hardly imagine. Little did he know that soon enough, love would find its way into his life in an unexpected form, a bond born not just from compassion but also from survival itself. On one such crisp autumn morning, as the man ventured down a familiar trail to gather firewood, he was suddenly captivated by a rustling in the underbrush nearby. The gentle crunch of leaves and twigs snapped his attention away from his thoughts, pulling him into a moment of heightened awareness. He paused, letting his eyes skim the dense foliage, and what he saw next shattered the tranquility of the moment. Stumbling into view was a bear cub, small and gaunt, its ribs protruding beneath a coat that had lost its youthful luster. The creature moved hesitantly, each step revealing the raw vulnerability etched into its frame. Its dark eyes were clouded with fear and hunger, darting nervously at every sound its small body detected. Gone was the playful exuberance of youth. This was a creature steeped in desperation and need. As the man observed this heartbreaking sight, his heart clenched tightly in sympathy. The bear cub's legs trembled as it navigated the rugged terrain, searching for scraps of food amid dried leaves and fallen acorns. Nature's generosity had all but vanished during this season of preparation for winter. Food was scarce, and survival had become a race against time. Stripped of its youthful innocence, the cub's desperation became palpable as it sniffed the air for any trace of nourishment, watching cautiously for any signs of danger. The man knelt down instinctively, making himself smaller so as not to intimidate the creature that was clearly on edge. In that moment, he felt an overwhelming urge to bridge the gap between them. Seconds passed like hours as the bear cub looked between him and the surrounding undergrowth. The promise of safety seemed to hang in a delicate balance. With careful movements, he reached into his satchel, retrieving some dried fish leftovers from yesterday's meal, a feast for a hungry cub, but barely enough to feed even his own appetite. He extended his hand slowly, offering not just food but an olive branch to trust anew. The rhythmic chatter of the forest faded around them as time held its breath. Would the cub meet him halfway? Seconds ticked by before curiosity overpowered caution. With cautious steps, the bear cub approached him. It stopped just out of arm's reach but strained towards the morsels with aching longing, each snuffle and whimper echoing its plight. A pang of helplessness washed over the man as he saw not only an animal in need but also a reflection of hope fighting against overwhelming odds. As he gently tossed pieces toward it, they hit the ground with soft thuds on fallen leaves. The bear cub hesitated for but a moment before lunging forward with primal hunger etched across its face, clumsily devouring each piece as if it could erase days of emptiness in mere moments. Watching this transformation unfold, vulnerability giving way to fierce determination, filled him with warmth and a sense of purpose. In that instant, surrounded by ancient trees and humming wildlife once more aligned with their rhythms, something ancient and profound awakened deep within him, a bond forming between two beings from different worlds brought together by necessity and compassion. This encounter would create ripples across both their lives, an intertwining fate pinned by nature's hand, waiting patiently as winter drew closer, harsh shadows looming on the horizon. The bear cub, weak and trembling, crouched close to the ground as it cautiously approached the man. The rustling leaves underfoot hardly made a sound against the backdrop of a heart that thundered in his chest. He could see the fear in the cub's eyes, a reflection of instinctive mistrust born from a world that had not always been kind. Yet beneath that fear lay a desperate longing for connection, for care. Drawing on instinct honed through years of living alongside nature's creatures, the man crouched lower, making himself appear less imposing. "Hey there," he murmured softly, allowing gentle words to billow into the area between them like an invitation. There was something fragile about this moment. Tension hung in the air as both beings assessed one another. As he extended his hand slowly, his fingers cradled some dried fish, a modest offering from yesterday's meals that now felt like life itself to the starving cub. Squinting with intent and uncertainty, the cub's nostrils flared as it caught a whiff of sustenance, suddenly piquing its curiosity. That very moment crystallized into something larger than either of them, a silent agreement forged in shared vulnerability. With every beat of time stretching out before them, he tossed a piece toward the bear cub. It hit the damp earth with a soft thud, breaking through unease like sunlight-piercing glow. The cub paused and leaned closer still. Hunger won over hesitation as it snatched up the offering in a single fluid motion. A small gasp escaped the man's lips as he witnessed the shift unfold, the raw desperation giving way to an instinctive hunger that transformed timid movements into determined lunges. Each scrap devoured seemed to invigorate more than just its body. It was as if newfound strength coursed through its veins with every morsel consumed. "Easy now," he soothed, respecting this delicate moment while sensing how crucial reassurance was for both of them. As more fish landed softly upon the ground before it, hope blossomed where despair had reigned mere moments ago. There was magic woven into simple acts of kindness. The bear cub's hunger soon quieted its fears, with each bite accompanied by simple murmurs from the man, a gentle symphony composed of encouragement and warmth. The invisible barrier between them began to dissolve. They were no longer just creatures of circumstance. They were two souls acknowledging their own struggles. While they shared this impromptu meal, guardian and ward, they became attuned to one another's rhythms, one embodying patience and care while another embraced vulnerability and need. The forest around them retained its vibrant hum but muted slightly as if holding respect for this sacred connection being formed underneath their sprawling canopy of sheltering trees. In that serene setting, an unspoken bond took root, a partnership born from an act driven by compassion and understanding rather than obligation or protection rooted solely in survival instincts. It was here that kindness made its home inside their hearts, whispering promise amidst continuing cycles of nature's trials yet unfurling ahead. Yet unbeknownst to him, this initial encounter was merely a prologue, a prelude to what lay ahead as seasons turned towards harsh winters confronting them both. Life would soon demand more than basic offerings but rather nurture fueled by deeper ties resembling family between two unlikely allies raised beneath lofty pine trees painted against endless skies above. And thus their journey began anew together amid unfurling destinies entwined inexplicably forevermore. As the days turned into weeks, the bond between the man and the bear cub deepened in ways neither could have anticipated. The once timid creature transformed into a spirited companion, its strength and confidence blossoming under the man's care. With each passing day, their interactions became a dance of mutual respect and understanding, a language spoken without words. The routine they established was simple yet profound. Each morning, after the man completed his chores in the garden, he would call out to the cub. "Breakfast time," he'd announce with a chuckle, and soon enough, the rustling of leaves would herald the bear's arrival. The cub would emerge from the underbrush, now a little sturdier and more confident, excitement radiating from its every move as it bounded toward him. With an ever-increasing appetite, it eagerly awaited his offerings, fresh fruits from the garden or the occasional fish caught from the stream. These meals were no longer mere sustenance. They became shared moments filled with laughter and playful banter. The man began to notice quirks that made the cub uniquely its own. How it would tilt its head in curiosity when he spoke in a gentle tone, or how it playfully pawed at his feet when it sought attention. Their connection grew beyond nourishment. During those long afternoons spent fishing by the water's edge, the bear cub would often sit beside him, eyes fixed on the shimmering surface of the stream as if trying to comprehend some secret within. It was during these silent observations that both felt a sense of peace wash over them, a reminder that despite their differences, they shared a common bond rooted in survival and companionship. As autumn faded and winter loomed closer, their playful antics continued to evolve. On chilly evenings by the fire, they would curl up together, one man and one bear sharing warmth against the chill that seeped through the cabin walls. Wrapped in blankets, they would listen to stories spun from his lips, tales of adventures had in these vast woods, while outside snowflakes began to blanket their world in white. The cub's instincts guided its behavior more than anything else. It observed how he respected nature's rhythms and learned to navigate its complexities alongside him. One day, while exploring together, they stumbled upon a grove of berry bushes bursting with color. With delighted yips, the cub leapt forward before bouncing back to encourage him to join in. They feasted together amidst laughter, their connection evolving into a partnership filled with simple joys. Yet amid their joy lay an unspoken understanding of what lay ahead. The man often looked at the cub's blossoming frame and felt a rising dread. He knew that soon enough it would be time for the bear to return to its wild family. This reality weighed heavily upon both of them but remained unacknowledged. Instead, they filled their days together with laughter and discovery. As winter crept closer, their bond crystallized into something more than companionship. It embodied love forged in shared experience. They became inseparable allies against nature's challenges, two beings who had found solace in each other when vulnerability was at its peak. This friendship turned from necessity into something deeper. Each moment spent together was a testament that connection could blossom even in the face of hardship. Through gentle nudges of fate and trust built on kindness, they had woven an unbreakable thread between them, one that would echo through time and space as seasons changed and destinies intertwined within this wild tapestry of life they now called home. The day had come when the man and the bear cub could both feel the shift in the air, a bittersweet realization settling heavily in their hearts. As winter approached, transforming the landscape into a shimmering wonderland of white, the bear cub, now strong and robust, was beginning to heed an instinctual call that pulled it toward its wild family. This was a moment fraught with conflicting emotions, a convergence of joy and sorrow that quietly whispered of nature's unyielding cycles. On that crisp morning, as snowflakes gently cascaded from the sky like soft feathers, the man stood by his cabin door, watching the cub playfully bounding through the white expanse. The cub chased snowflakes, its breath visible in the frosty air, embodying youthful exuberance and vitality that had blossomed during their time together. It seemed determined to savor every last minute of their shared existence before parting ways. The man felt warmth swell in his chest even as sadness threatened to drown him. He loved this creature who had once stumbled, fragile and desperate, into his life. Each playful leap and joyous bark echoed memories filled with love and laughter, the laughter of shared meals, quiet evenings by the fire, and afternoons spent exploring their beloved woods together. Yet now, everything felt different, a clock ticking down to an inevitable goodbye. With a heavy heart but unwavering resolve, he approached the bear cub and knelt down low, making his presence gentle and welcoming. "It's time for you to go home," he murmured softly, his voice barely above a whisper yet rich with love and understanding. The cub paused mid-bound, turning its dark eyes towards him, eyes that sparkled with recognition and emotion. In that moment, they locked gazes, their bond forged anew through unspoken words passing between them like electric currents. The man reached out slowly, caressing the cub's head as it leaned into his touch, seeking comfort while realizing what lay ahead. This was no ordinary farewell. It was a tribute to everything they had shared, an acknowledgement of their brief intertwining paths in the tapestry of life. Kneeling in the snow beside one another, surrounded by towering trees glistening with ice crystals, and the world enrobed in silence, tears pooled at the corners of the man's eyes. Though he sought to remain composed, sadness roiled within him like turbulent winds against mighty peaks. It wrenched at his heart knowing he would no longer feel the cozy warmth of fur nestled against him during long winter nights. Yet nature's call was relentless, pulling at the cub's instincts with magnetic urgency. With one last nuzzle against his leg, offering its own affectionate gesture of goodbye, the bear cub turned cautiously toward the thick trees bordering their clearing. An almost imperceptible nod passed between them, one final act of trust before embarking on separate journeys shaped by destiny. As it ventured into the dense forest beyond, with each step carrying echoes of the companionship they had built, the man felt both pride and grief collide within him. He watched as the cub darted through drifts of snow, parting leaves that adorned branches heavy with frost. It was a return to a primal connection with its world, a reunion waiting amidst shadows stretching far beyond. In that instant, both understood, love need not bind them physically. Instead, this bond would reach across time and space as long as both carried their memories forward. And just like that, the cycle of nature engraved a poignant farewell onto their hearts, one filled with promise for tomorrow yet rooted in bittersweet certainty today. In the days that followed the bear cub's departure, a profound stillness settled over the man's cabin, a silence that echoed with memories of laughter and playful antics now replaced by an absence that felt palpable. Each morning, he would awaken to find the familiar routines he cherished tinged with melancholy. The sun still rose over the horizon, bathing his garden in golden light. Yet without the spirited presence of his companion, everything felt just a touch less vibrant. As he tended to his plants or cast his fishing line into the stream, his thoughts drifted back to moments shared, the way the cub would eagerly bound toward him at breakfast time, or how it had nestled against him for warmth during those cold nights by the fire. The bond they had formed was not merely one of survival, but had woven a tapestry of connection rich with empathy and understanding. The man realized how deeply this experience had changed him, It was as if their hearts had danced together in unison under an ancient sky. Days turned into weeks as winter's grip tightened around the wilderness. With each snowfall that blanketed the ground, he found himself reflecting on what it meant to truly connect with another being, how vulnerability could be met with compassion, and how love could blossom even in the most unexpected circumstances. He began to notice wildlife more intently. Every rustle in the bushes or call from a distant bird stirred something within him, a reminder of his once timid friend who had taught him to see beyond mere existence. During long afternoons spent sitting by the stream, he observed deer grazing cautiously nearby or watched as squirrels scurried to gather food for winter. With each encounter came a newfound appreciation for life's delicate balance. He felt an urge to protect these creatures as fiercely as he had once protected the cub. In conversations held solely between him and nature, he learned to listen more closely, to hear not just sounds but stories waiting to be told. Though solitude pressed heavily upon him at times, this loneliness was tempered by gratitude. He often found solace in writing about his experiences, jotting down tales of their shared adventures and lessons learned beneath towering trees and starlit skies. These reflections became a source of healing for him. Through words on paper, he could relive each cherished moment while also offering thanks for having been allowed into such an intimate exchange. As spring began to nudge winter aside with tentative warmth, glimpses of hope emerged alongside budding flowers and thawing streams. With every sign of life returning to the landscape came whispers reminding him that nature itself was resilient, a cycle reborn anew despite periods of loss and longing. He envisioned the bear cub thriving among its family and vibrant forest beyond where they first met. Perhaps it too carried echoes of their time together deep within its heart. Through this journey of introspection and growth, an understanding blossomed within him. True connection transcends physical presence. It lives on in shared experiences that shape who we are, echoes we carry forward as we navigate life's unpredictable currents. He embraced this truth wholeheartedly. While he missed his furry friend dearly, he knew their bond had forged something eternal, a promise that love can transcend distance and time itself. With renewed purpose igniting his spirit like sunlight breaking through clouds, he stepped outside one radiant morning ready to face whatever lay ahead. Fully aware that nature would continue whispering its wisdom all around him as long as he remained open to its lessons. As spring unfurled across the landscape, a subtle shift began to occur in the man's surroundings, an uncanny feeling that the wilderness was alive with renewed purpose. At first, it was little more than an inkling, the sensation that eyes were watching him. The hushed whispers of leaves and rustle of underbrush felt different somehow, charged with an energy he couldn't quite place. With each passing day, strange occurrences began to weave into the fabric of his routine, gently stirring his awareness. One morning, while gathering firewood, he noticed a trail of peculiar paw prints leading into the forest, a set of small tracks that appeared almost too familiar. They were distinctly imprinted on the forest floor, deep enough to suggest considerable strength yet delicate enough to hint at their youth. Curiosity ignited within him as memories of the bear cub flooded back. Could it be that the spirit of his cherished friend lingered close by? When he returned home, he couldn't shake the feeling that something awaited him just beyond the tree lane. Each afternoon, he found himself drawn to venture deeper into the woods, a compulsion both thrilling and unnerving. While fishing along familiar banks, he heard playful sounds echoing through the trees, sudden bursts of laughter from unseen creatures or a soft rustling that felt playful rather than cautious. It reminded him of moments when he and the cub would share mischievous adventures. Now, however, they felt like hints dropped by nature itself. On particularly still evenings when the air was thick with enchantment and stars twinkled above like shards of broken glass scattered on velvet, he started noticing lingering flashes of movement in his peripheral vision. Squirrels would leap from branch to branch more exuberantly than before, and deer grazed closer to his cabin without fear. Each interaction seemed infused with a sense of community that had not been there previously. But perhaps the most curious sign came during one quiet dawn when he discovered remnants of berries scattered outside his doorstep, juicy morsels that had not been present before. He recognized them instantly. They were wild berries, both sweet and tart, identical to those they had once found together during their explorations. A smile crept onto his face at this unexpected gift. It felt as though nature conspired to send him messages filled with joy. As days progressed, the urge to step outside grew stronger. Stepping into the cool morning air became a ritual full of anticipation. The sounds around him seemed magnified, the gentle hum of insects buzzing, birds calling out in playful chatter, as if all creatures conspired cheerfully together. In these moments spent beneath brilliant skies catoned with clouds, he felt strangely connected and part of something larger than himself. Yet what intrigued him most was a persistent feeling nestled deep within, the irrational hope that perhaps fate was bringing new stories back into his life. He imagined that somehow those signs hinted at something significant on the horizon, an impending reunion or another profound connection waiting silently just beyond reach. Driven by these uncanny occurrences and instinctual signals from the wild, anticipation unfurled inside him like spring flowers breaking through winter's frost. Each day brought possibilities, wonderful and magical, infinite paths lying ahead just waiting for exploration. Thus captivated by this feeling, the intersecting vines of expectation and curiosity woven tightly among trees arching toward limitless skies, he embraced the unknown with open arms. His heart surged with excitement as he moved through an awakening world ripe with wonders yet to come, perhaps soon enough. Moments awaited where past and present would collide anew amidst illuminated trails painted by fate's gentle hand guiding him forward through nature's embrace once more. As summer settled over the landscape, the man often found himself wandering deeper into the woods, relishing the sights and sounds of life blooming all around him. The vibrant greens of the leaves against the blue sky filled him with a sense of renewal, but he also felt an undercurrent of longing. Memories of the bear cub lingered like ghosts in the corners of his mind, each rustling leaf and distant call of an animal reminding him of their shared bond and the companionship they once enjoyed. One sunny afternoon, while sitting by the stream casting his line and enjoying the warmth of the sun on his face, he noticed something unusual stirring at the edge of his vision. There it was, a figure moving gracefully between the trees, large and powerful but also familiar. He squinted against the sunlight reflecting off the water, his heart pounding as anticipation flooded through him in waves. Then, as if stepping out from a dream, the bear emerged fully into view. It had grown into a magnificent animal, its thick fur gleaming in the dappled sunlight, muscles rippling beneath its coat as it approached with confidence. The man stood frozen for a heartbeat, caught between disbelief and joy. It was indeed his old friend, the little bear cub now transformed into a majestic creature, and yet despite its size, he recognized those playful eyes that once held so much vulnerability. The bear paused momentarily to assess its surroundings before fixing its gaze firmly on the man standing breathless beside the stream. In that shared moment, they locked eyes, and recognition sparked between them like electricity. Tentatively, almost instinctively, the bear took a step closer. A swell of emotion rose within him, love mixed with gratitude surged through his veins. "Is it really you?" he whispered softly, overwhelmed by a torrent of feelings flooding back to him like waves crashing upon rocky shores. As if in response to his question, the bear let out a gentle rumble, a sound that reverberated with familiarity. It moved forward again, closing the distance between them swiftly before nuzzling against his leg as it had done so many times before. A flood of warmth enveloped him at this familiar gesture. It was as though no time had passed between them. He knelt down and wrapped his arms around the creature's robust frame as best he could. The bear leaned into him with unabashed affection, and in that embrace, a deep connection reaffirmed itself, one that transcended mere memories of nurturing and friendship. Together they stood beneath ancient trees intricately woven together by time. Roots ran deep, just as their bond had grown roots within their hearts. The man stroked the bear's fur gently, feeling the strength beneath it, the strength born from survival in the wild but also forged through shared experiences filled with kindness. It struck him then how extraordinary loyalty could be when forged by love. Life reflected in their reunification was vibrant with possibility. The bear now held within it lessons learned through its own journey back to family, the cycle complete yet always continuing onward. As they separated after their tender reunion, the bear looking back over its shoulder to ensure he was still there, the man knew this moment mirrored nature itself, unpredictable yet rife with magic at every turn. Filled with gratitude for having witnessed this remarkable journey unfold before him anew, he resisted tears tinged with joy as he watched it meld back into the lush tapestry of trees. Life would go on. Both would continue to chase after their destinies, the man embracing solitude but carrying within him whispers of companionship forged beneath starlit skies alongside pathways carved by fate. They were forever linked, two souls traversing distinct yet entwined paths across a wilderness alive with memories shared and magical adventures awaiting just beyond horizons still uncharted together once more. Following their heartfelt reunion, the man found himself filled with an overwhelming sense of gratitude and joy. He believed that the bear had returned simply to reconnect. Yet, as days turned into weeks, he began to notice subtle changes in the bear's behavior that hinted at something more significant, something he could not yet understand. One crisp morning, as the sun filtered through the trees casting dappled shadows on the forest floor, the bear arrived at his cabin with an unusual urgency. It stood at the edge of the clearing, looking back toward the woods with a sense of purpose. The man watched curiously as it gestured for him to follow by glancing over its shoulder repeatedly, clearly eager for him to join. Sensing a new adventure beckoning them both, he stepped outside and followed closely behind. The bear led him deeper into the woods than he had ventured in some time, passing familiar landmarks but taking turns into areas he had never explored. The excitement coursed through him. There was something special about this journey, a feeling that they were heading toward an extraordinary revelation. Finally arriving at a secluded grove encircled by ancient oaks and wildflowers swaying gently in the breeze, the bear halted and turned toward him with expectant eyes. It seemed to survey its surroundings before digging into the soft earth with its powerful paws. The man watched intently as curiosity bubbled within him. What could his friend be uncovering? After a few moments of determined digging, the bear emerged triumphantly holding something in its mouth, a large root covered in rich soil that glistened like treasure under beams of sunlight. With gentle care, it deposited the root at his feet and looked up at him expectantly as if urging him to recognize its significance. The man knelt down to inspect this unexpected gift closely. What lay before him was not just any root. It was a wild ginseng root renowned for its healing properties. He marveled at how nature's bounty had been hidden right beneath their feet all along, a vital reminder that life often provides for those who nurture their surroundings with love and kindness. A wave of realization washed over him. This was not merely an act of gratitude from his loyal companion, but an acknowledgement of their bond forged through compassion during difficult times. The bear had returned not only to reconnect but also to repay a debt, a gesture aimed to enrich his life in ways beyond physical sustenance. Feeling overwhelmed by emotion, tears prickled at his eyes as he reached out to stroke the bear's fur affectionately once more. "Thank you," he whispered softly, unable to articulate how deeply touched he felt by this profound exchange, a testament that animals possess their own forms of gratitude and wisdom beyond human understanding. As they stood together beneath towering trees adorned with vibrant blossoms swaying in gentle spring's breeze, it became clear their relationship was imbued with something timeless, a connection where love transcended species boundaries. They had shared struggles that stitched their lives together, now woven more tightly than before. Together they returned home. Ginseng root in hand became both symbol and promise, a token reminding him always of loyalty's enduring power while intertwining past experiences with future journeys yet unfurled ahead across paths still unwalked together amidst nature's embrace. With renewed purpose filling his spirit like sunlight igniting horizons anew, the man understood fully what lay ahead. Profound adventures awaited them both just beyond what they could see. Each moment steeped in connection along wild trails illuminated by love shared between kindred souls created from different worlds yet bound forevermore through shared experiences shaped by grace flowing from nature itself. As the man reflected on his relationship with the bear, he began to see their bond as a microcosm of the greater themes of gratitude and reciprocity that underpin all life within the wilderness. This connection, rooted in the mutual support they offered one another during their time together, illuminated a vital truth, that survival often intertwines the lives of different species in unexpected ways. Sitting on his porch overlooking the sprawling landscape, he took in the vibrant tapestry of life surrounding him. The trees stood tall and wise, whispering secrets in the rustling wind, while birds chirped cheerfully overhead. Each element played its part in this intricate ecosystem, and he felt connected to it all in a way he hadn't fully grasped before. The lessons he learned from the bear extended beyond their shared experiences. They served as a reminder of nature's delicate balance, a reminder that what is given must also be returned. He recalled how the bear cub had entered his life at a moment when both were vulnerable, the cub starving and afraid, while he grappling with loneliness and reflection. In offering help to this creature, he discovered not only a companion but also a deeper sense of purpose. Their relationship evolved into one characterized by mutual respect. They became allies navigating the complexities of a world filled with challenges and uncertainties. After the bear presented him with the healing ginseng root, he understood that this act was not merely a gift but rather an embodiment of their shared journey, a testament to how kindness can ripple through nature, forging lasting connections among its inhabitants. As he held the root in his hand, its earthy scent grounding him firmly to his surroundings, he realized this was not just about gratitude. It was about recognizing the impact one being could have on another's existence. He considered how animals express gratitude, whether through gestures or instincts, and marveled at their innate ability to navigate their worlds while nurturing those around them. This understanding deepened his appreciation for every creature that crossed his path, From the tiniest insects tirelessly pollinating flowers to the majestic elk gracefully roaming valleys. Each played a unique role within this grand narrative of life, their interactions creating webs of reciprocity where survival hinged upon cooperation and kindness. This reflection led him to ponder how humans fit within this delicate balance. Too often, society operates under beliefs of dominion over nature rather than coexistence within it. He felt compelled to advocate for these silent beings who spoke through actions rather than words. Sharing stories about their loyalty and resilience would emphasize their vital roles in ecosystems. As seasons changed and new life burgeoned around him, he embraced a renewed commitment to live harmoniously with nature, honoring it through conscious actions rooted in empathy and stewardship. He recognized that each small choice could foster interconnectedness, planting native flora or supporting wildlife conservation efforts, and thus contribute to sustaining these beautifully complex relationships woven together by shared experiences. No longer just an observer within nature's embrace, he resolved to be an active participant fueled by understanding and compassion. With each step forward, he would honor the lessons learned through his beloved bear friend while carrying forward their shared legacy, a pledge born from gratitude that would echo across wild trails yet untraveled together amidst thriving ecosystems filled with promise. The extraordinary encounter between the man and the bear cub left an indelible mark on both their lives, reinforcing the profound impact that acts of kindness can have across species. Their journey together, born from vulnerability, compassion, and mutual respect, illustrated that such connections can transcend time and circumstance, weaving a tapestry of interdependence that resonates through the natural world. From the moment the man offered sustenance to the starving cub, a bond emerged that went beyond mere survival. It blossomed into a friendship characterized by shared experiences and transformative moments of trust. As seasons changed and the cub's journey led it back to the wild, the man learned that love does not bind but liberates, allowing creatures to embrace their true nature while carrying with them the memories of those they have touched. The bear's return, fully grown and healthy, served as a poignant reminder of loyalty and gratitude. When it presented the wild ginseng root, it embodied not only the lessons learned during their time together but also the reciprocal nature of their relationship. The bear's gift became a symbol of their intertwined destinies, a testament to how kindness can ripple through life, creating bonds that endure beyond physical presence. Reflecting on this unique connection, the man came to realize that he was part of a larger narrative, a story threaded through all living beings where each creature plays its role in maintaining nature's balance. His understanding deepened as he observed the vibrant ecosystem around him, where every interaction held significance. He recognized that his acts of stewardship towards wildlife could foster gratitude and support in return. Nurturing nature would yield rich rewards not only for himself but for all beings coexisting within this intricate web of life. With this newfound perspective came a sense of responsibility. The man felt compelled to advocate for the voiceless inhabitants of the wilderness, sharing stories about their resilience and loyalty. Through his actions, he hoped to inspire others to appreciate the delicate systems sustaining life and encourage deeper connections between people and nature. As days passed and seasons cycled once more, he embraced his role as an active participant in this ecosystem, planting native flora, protecting animal habitats, and fostering awareness about conservation efforts. Each small step he took was infused with purpose. It linked him back to his cherished friend while simultaneously paving paths toward new adventures yet to be discovered. Ultimately, the bond forged with the bear encapsulated a broader truth about existence, that kindness transcends species and time, nurturing connections that echo throughout lifetimes. The experiences shared between them were not isolated moments but rather threads woven into a greater fabric of life, a continuous story echoing through forests filled with whispers of gratitude and mutual respect. In this way, both man and bear carried forward their legacy, each inspiring the other while leaving an imprint on the world around them. Their journey illuminated how powerful connections could ripple outward like waves upon still water, reminding all who encountered them of the beauty found in reciprocity and empathy within nature's embrace. As he looked toward the horizon, he felt ready to face whatever awaited him, secure in knowing that every act of kindness holds potential, capable of forging bonds that last far beyond one fleeting moment in time.